Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Genesis Birthing and Living, listening to Black Women web series. I'm Shayla Brown, host and founder of Genesis Birthing and Living, and I have with me Daryan Atkinson, and I will let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Daryan Atkinson. I am a doula and I'm also a herbalist, and I'm excited to be here today.
Okay, thank you for joining us. And so I asked Darian to come on because she was my doula in my most recent birth, this baby, which was in August.
Yeah.
And I read a blog post about it, which I will link in the notes to this video. But I just kind of want to ask for her perspective, just on being the doula and her experience of attending the birth. Um, I've kind of talked about mine a little bit, so I guess we'll just do some debriefing here. So I guess the first thing is, I don't know. I guess I'll just let you start on like. So in my blog post, I talked a lot about wanting to have like just a soft birth and a pain-free birth and a stressless birth, which sound those words sound really odd set up next to birth. Sometimes we can think about birth as being stressful, labor as being painful, as being a hard thing to do. I mean, it's called labor, which is work. So when we talk about a soft birth, I just kind of wanted to, I guess, explore that narrative a little bit more and push that one forward, just to let us know that birth can be, if not enjoyable, it can definitely be a softer, calmer, um, more chill experience that you kind of can navigate better that way. So I would just let Darian talk a little bit about her perspective as a doula at this birth.
Yes. Your birth was amazing. A free birth was definitely something new. So you were my first free birth. And
Okay.
it was definitely amazing to see how you were just in control with your body and you just knew how you wanted your birth. And I feel like when you go in knowing how you want your birth, like it just comes out just exactly how you want it, period. Like if you say, hey, listen, I want the lights dim, I want some music, I know I'm going to breathe like this and I'm going to stay calm, it goes peaceful and gentle, and it's a soft birth and it's a peaceful birth, and it was just amazing. And honestly, I really don't have any words for it because you did amazing. Okay. You did good. I
Thank you.
actually took some notes because that was, you were in control of your body.
Thank you.
You were very in control of your body, and it was nice. It was just, you had your husband there to help and assist you too, so you just had that support that you needed and that you wanted, bringing a new life into the world, and it was just amazing. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I have the perspective as a doula too, trying to support women, and that is one of the things that I'm always trying to get women to understand, that this is your birth, and just like you would plan your wedding, your baby shower, your trip, whatever, you can plan your birth. And if you think about it like an event that you're going to, then it can be just as exciting as the other events. And your mind does have a lot of power to create the experience you want.
It does.
Um,
It definitely does.
yeah. So I guess now that you are, I mean, I don't know if you, I don't know if you mind me saying, but you're expecting,
Yes,
right?
I
Okay,
am.
okay, okay.
That's
So,
fine.
yeah, okay. What do you think you'll take like into this birth? Just compared to your last birth that you had, and all the good things that you experienced from those. What parts do you want to carry over, and then what have you learned since then from attending births as a doula? Mine in particular, but any other births that you'll probably carry into this birth.
I think I want to, well, I know for a fact I want to have more control over my mind. Um, just telling myself that I can do it. Like as a doula, we tell, our clients, hey, you can do it. You got this. Your body's meant for it. But just reassuring ourselves when we're giving birth to our baby that we can also do it, and that our body was meant to do it, and just having that strong, mental aspect of, like putting all my energy into pushing more so than, screaming, like just making it a more peaceful and gentle and soft environment. Um,
Yeah.
because my last birth, my first two births were hospital births. And then my third birth was a birthing center birth. So that was very different and it was very peaceful. And I knew for a fact I wanted my birth to go a certain type of way. And with this next birth, it's going to be at home. So it's slightly different than a birthing center because it's in the comfort of your own home. But it's just like having to kind of get myself back into the mental state of like, nope, you want it like this. I've always said I wanted a home birth. So just kind of sticking to it like, this is what I want. I know for a fact this is what I want. And this is how it's going to go, and just standing firm on what I believe in. So it gets a little anxious because it's like it's in your house and it's just like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. So it's just the first time for that. So I think once, the time comes to actually go into labor and push the baby out, I'll get into the like, oh, I know this is about to happen. Just preparing my body all the way up to giving birth.
Yeah, and the way you talk about it, it sounds like a very active process, even up until the birth. And because one of the things I like to talk about on this platform, and one of the whole reasons I started it, is just that so we can control the narrative a little bit more, so that we can be parts, at least at least a part of the conversation. Because there are a lot of conversations about Black maternal health and about what Black women need to do, and the question, what will Black women do? How are Black women going to survive this maternal health crisis? And I just find, I mean, it's increasing now, but in the past, there have been just few spaces where Black women are actually asked what they think. They actually have a space to feel in this conversation and this question and this problem that concerns us more than anybody. I think it's important that we have say in what we're experiencing and how the experience is going to go. So when we talk about changing the narrative, we have to change the story in order to change the story, if that makes sense, you know?
Right.
So
I can say with my third birth, I knew for a fact like hospital, like I'm giving them I'm giving them all this money to tell me when to push and when, like when to push and just what to do with my body. And I'm just like, well, I want to be more in control of when I need to push or when I feel the urge to push. And I need a team that's going to listen to me when I say, okay, it's time for me to push because only I know when it's time for me to push and I know my body.
yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely think that the work, you know, leading up to having your baby is definitely that has to be worked on too.
yeah. And part of the work that you talk about is growing up as a woman, you know, because it's a very woman thing to do. And so many spaces want to infantilize you and treat you like you're a child. And you have to be grown enough to be able to say, I don't want that, or I don't want to do that, or to even make the decisions and have the discussions. And even when you get pushback, because, you know, people will, especially in hospital settings, and when you have care providers, you can get pushback, even if it is a midwife. That can happen sometimes with midwives. So you have to go into it like a grown woman. And I know that sounds, it almost
Right.
sounds like, you know, needless to say, but I've been at births where if I hadn't said something as a doula, like, do y'all want to do that? You know, then they wouldn't have known to ask more questions or wouldn't have thought to ask more questions because they were just trusting this care provider to do whatever they were going to do. And maybe in an ideal world, we would be able to do that. But if it's your process, you know, these people work for you, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of have to exert more authority over our processes if they're going to go in the ways that we know with our bodies that are going through this that they need to go. So that's a great point. So as a doula now, because I know for me, with every birth, there will be different things that I would take from one experience into the next. So if I just learned from every birth that I attended, and I was able to show up differently or better or just more authentically or more fully as a doula after going to, birth after birth. So how do you think as a doula, this experience with, this free birth that you were able to support, how do you think that you can carry that into your work as a doula, supporting other women?
I think just once again, like when we talked about like your body was meant for it, like you did it with literally no help. Like you knew your body. So just being in tune with your body and knowing your body, because some women don't know their body. Like some people don't know because we were not taught, and sometimes we don't use the tools that we have to learn our body. So you actually knew your body and you knew the different stages of labor. Granted, you are doula, but you kind of you trusted your intuition and you knew when it was time for you to do what you needed to do. So definitely just taking that from that experience and just kind of, talking to my clients about just like if you have a question about something, we can sit down and we can talk about it, or I can send you resources, or you can find some resources because it's like a plethora of resources that talks about how to learn your body, and it's multiple, different books that you can find out more, about your body, or just listening to yourself and listening to your body. Um, just listen.
Yeah.
So I think that is like the main thing. So just
Yeah.
listening to your body and just
Yeah. And that's sorry. I'm sorry. um, that is such a good point. Oh, I'm sorry. I wait.
no.
Oh, hey.
She's like, I'm
Okay.
doing that.
Sure. Well, that's great. uh, but that's such a good point about listening to your body. And I will say that I probably learned to do that. I mean, you learn it with every birth, and you learn it with being at birth. You definitely learn it at your own birth, of course. And I will say my fourth birth, which was my first unassisted birth, that would be the theme, I think. Vulnerability, and then learning my to listen to my body, because I didn't have anybody else to, like, it was the first time being unassisted, so it was just me. And I had to pay attention to, and I decided I'm gonna take notes and I'm gonna just really pay attention. I didn't have the stress of like watching the clock, or somebody telling me what needed to happen in a certain amount of time. And I can't do this, stand here, don't stand there, how you doing, having to answer questions. It was just me, and I could just be in my head, think about what was happening, what I was feeling, and feel where I was feeling it. And then I did take notes, like, oh, I felt this here and I felt that there. So that's a good way to learn your body when you have the space to just concentrate on what you're doing. And you're not answering a bunch of questions and filling out a bunch of paperwork and fighting people, and which I guess is why it helps to have a doula and your support person who can
And
maybe
just
like
that
filter
environment.
some of these conversations.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just different. Like, and then like when you're in the comfort of your own home, or just like in the comfort of where you're comfortable being, versus a hospital or just somewhere that you're not familiar with, because it's just like now I'm stressed out and now my baby is stressed. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm a little tensed up. So it just kind of like delays labor, and also delays what your body is supposed to naturally do.
Yeah. Okay. So as as I think provisional doula, what would you say to a new doula who's coming in and who's coming out of who's coming out of training? Because it's one thing to be trained and it's another thing to attend birth and it's another thing to experience birth. So what would you say to a doula who's coming out of her training and she's excited and she's ready to go support some clients? What advice would you give her now that you're on the side of having children and having attended births?
I think that my advice would be to listen to your client. Listen to what they're being vulnerable here. So just be respectful and just listen and be open because everybody has, different beliefs when it comes to childbirth. Everybody feels different. And just be open, listen. And it's also okay for you to be vulnerable as well because you are also human, if that makes sense. Because I feel like as a doula, I like to make connections. I don't want to just be like, hey, I'm here. I'm your doula. You're paying me to be your doula. So I'm just
Yeah.
here. Like, no, I want to have like a genuine connection with my clients so that they know that I'm going to show up for them how I need to show up for them in any aspect that they need to be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, no, that does make sense. So I think I can't think of anything else. So I won't hold you. Can you tell everyone what a little bit more about what you do, where you've trained, where you are in your career, and what services you offer, and where they can find you on the
Sure.
internet?
So I am a doula first. And I am certified with DONA, so I am finishing up my international certification. So fingers crossed, I have that by the end of this month or December. So I'm submitting my package, but I am a certified doula. So I've attended including your birth, I've attended 6 births, and I'm officially done for this year. um, yes, so I'm with DONA. And then I am also a herbalist and a health consultant. So I can make meal plans. I know how to read your face. I can tell you what's going on with you. And I also make natural body butters. I make teas. I make scrubs. I kind of do it all. So
Okay.
and I also do have a website, which is www.healingwithd.com. So just like the letter
Okay.
D. And yeah, so that's what I do. And I love it. And I really love the doula aspect. I'm even looking into maybe doing postpartum doula. But as of right now, I'm just a birth doula, not postpartum doula.
Okay, thank you. So that's Daryan Atkinson, and I will link all of her stuff in the notes of this video, and there'll be a blog post to go with it. So I'll link it there too. If there's nothing else you want to share, Daryan, then I'm going to sign off. Um, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, definitely share, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.